Hey, everybody. I'm Heiselin with the Believe Retreat. And it just gets so frustrating when you're in the middle of editing something. It can feel like it's never, ever going to get done. And so we wanted to talk a little bit more about believing that it is going to get better. We are going to get through this process of feedback, and it's going to be amazing. So I'm going to bring Francine on. Hey, Francine, how's it going?
I'm just so excited because we're talking about editing. The second book in the Confidence Club series, Camp Confidence, is finally out. When we talk
Oh
about
yeah.
when we talk about editing, hi Stormy.
She has no clue. Camera's over here, dog. Anyway,
Hi
yes,
Stormy.
yay, Francine, that's amazing.
The editing process was so frustrating. And let me tell you why. Because it wasn't just me. I had to lead a team. I had to be a part of a team. I had to communicate with the team and hope that they were communicating properly with me. And sometimes that communication broke down. But let me tell you, one part of working in a team is that you have other people on the team to help. Let me tell you the story. I was having problems with the illustrations for my book. I wrote instructions for the illustrator, and he had some other ideas. And I said, okay, we need to fix this. Not really fix it, but go back to my original vision. And now just think of this as you wrote a chapter and the editor is asking you to make changes because what they're trying to make you change doesn't fit your original vision. So you have to communicate this to the editor. Well, I had to communicate this to my illustrator. And I love him. He's a fabulous. He's a beautiful. Let me just show you.
Totally cute.
Let me just show you. He does beautiful work, right? But there were just some story elements that weren't coming out the way I wanted it to. And we kept going back and forth and back and forth. And then finally, we have another person on the team, Al. And I said, Al, is there a better way that I could communicate this so we could get on the same page? And Al gave me an idea of, well, let's just hop on Zoom and go through it, and we'll both take notes and make sure that we are on the same page to describe it to him, the illustrator. So realize that in the editing process, you have a whole team around you, and it might just be a language barrier. Even if you both speak English, there might be a little bit of a language barrier there because the language barrier we were having, and I didn't understand where the disconnect was. He thought the kids went into the magical land during the story, but they were already in the magical land at the beginning of the story. And that was our communication breakdown. And it took a third person to figure out where we weren't communicating properly. So sometimes you have to find the root cause of the problem. And it really wasn't a problem, it was just a miscommunication. And we had to find the root cause of the miscommunication. And I know back in the early days of my writing, I got real defensive. What do you mean you want me to change that? That's the way the story went. And it wasn't that they wanted me to change the story, they wanted it to
be communicated in a different way.
Well, what I learned is that I understood it from my perspective as someone who was in the situation. But they didn't understand it the same way I did. So just because an editor tells you to change something, if it doesn't feel good to you, have that conversation to figure out where the communication is breaking down. It might be something they didn't understand, like the one editor who told me that I'm an aircraft electrician and I was writing a story about being an aircraft electrician, and they put an S on the end of every aircraft. Aircraft is plural. It doesn't need an S. And I had to explain that. I got upset at first. What is this person stupid? They spoke English as a second language. But hear this now. The editor of Believe You Can Anthology does not speak English as a second language. She is a professional editor, so we won't have that problem. That was a problem I had with a previous publisher and a previous team. This is how I learned the process the wrong way. So I know what to look for when we do it right this time.
Oh, and I think you bring up something really important. In my communications classes, I learned about the curse of knowledge. And so when you are such an expert in a certain area, you have your own lingo, you have abbreviations for stuff, and you forget what everyone else doesn't know without years of this education and experience. And so where else I like about this story is you have to also have the experience of communicating or figuring out where that communication breakdown is between your curse of knowledge and everyone else who is working on your team. And without having a situation where you guys were all working on a book and everybody doing their part that they're best at, you wouldn't have experience with this. You wouldn't have that practice. And so would you say that now that you've gone through that experience, it'll be easier for you to identify when there's like a miscommunication going on? And then how do you switch into being more curious to getting to the bottom of the root problem like you were talking about?
One thing, and Terry, our editor, I've already been in communication with her about this. We are going to have a set of protocols. There is going to be more than one person in on the process. So it's not going to be just the author working with the editor. We will work on it as a group. That way, say I'm watching the process and I see where there's frustration starting to happen, I could say, okay, let's get in a Zoom room and talk about this. Let's find out where the breakdown is. Or we could all get together and give feedback. The one thing I know about Terry is she likes getting feedback too. And talking about it is the best way to work it out. But we do have to remember, Terry is a professional editor and she knows things about this process that we don't. So if she's saying, for this doesn't work, maybe you need to listen. Don't get defensive. Listen to what she has to say. And then we could get together and brainstorm how to make that work for you.
So I think even just entertaining the idea that out of what you hear, perhaps 10% of what she said could be correct and could be helpful. I like to play that game. As soon as I'm like, oh, I'm defensive and I don't want to listen to this idea, because usually there's I've done this, blah, 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 blah. There's some sort of excuse thing going on in my head. That's when I pay attention. And then I go, okay, what is the 10% that I think that's good in this idea? And I have to hear out the whole idea, beginning to end, to truly understand where that person is coming from. And more often than not, I either get like a little spark of an idea where I can take off with that, and maybe I don't do it exactly like they said it, or a lot of times I realize, hey, this person is an expert. They've done this a ton of times before. Who am I to reinvent the wheel right now? Yes, I am not the smartest person in the room. I'm just going to do what you said.
Well, and just imagine Terry was going to be reading 52 chapters from 52 authors, from a rock star to a children's book author to a pottery expert, and she doesn't know all of our expertise. So it might be she gives us a suggestion, not understanding what we said. Whereas if we just talked it through, she could say, oh, I didn't understand that. Well, you need to explain that to the reader better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, because a lot of times, especially when I'm creating something, my thoughts will be very jumbled. Sentences won't completely make sense. And when you can talk through that all out loud, if you have somebody that's a good listener, usually they can pick out the main points of whatever that craziness that came out of your mouth and repeat it back in a nicer, concise way. When people do that for me, oh my goodness, I'm just like, yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. And it's less frustrating talking about, being stuck in the middle of this refining process and wondering if it's ever going to be over. These kind of brainstorming sessions are great because when you really give into them, a lot of times you find your solutions and be on your way on to the next thing pretty quickly.
And it's not going to be like writing a 400-page novel. We're only writing 12 to 1,500 words. And I know for some people, 12 to 1,500 words is hard, but that's why we're here to help. We can interview you, get your genius on video, and then get it transcribed and written, if that's what it takes to tell your story to the readers.
And you might be like, I'm not really sure what my story is. I don't know what I have to tell. We have the Believer Trait community. You can scan this over here, or you can also get to it by the website scrolling on the bottom of the screen. But every day we're posting a different question, and it's kind of self-reflective and also makes you think about who the people are you want to connect with. Also helps you think through a bunch of other hangups that we have as creatives. So we get stuck in our own heads sometimes. These are really great writing prompts because if you really want to have impact, a lot of these hangups we have as creatives, we don't talk about it. We keep it stuck in here, and we don't have people to brainstorm and talk about. Maybe it was that very complicated conversation with your team as you're trying to write a book or write a song or any of the number of things that you can do as collaborators, and you're trying to figure out how to have a very difficult conversation with someone. Sometimes it's nice to be able to have other people to collaborate with, talk to, get different perspectives to make all of this easier. We don't have to be doing this alone. We don't have to be hustling out there alone. So, this is another way if you're like, I don't know, I'm not an author. I don't know if I can write 1,500 words. I don't know if I have a story to tell. Who am I and who's going to listen to me? If you said any of these things before, check out the community, check out some of the resources we have to get started. If you're listening, it's in your heart to do it.
I don't know if you could hear this, but my dogs are going crazy. Stormy is such a good puppy dog. Mine are going crazy because we have a worker in the yard right now. So, Heidi, I'm going to mute again. Will you start talking about the affiliate program and how people can help us fill our author spots and what that will do for them?
Yes, I sure can do that. Go chase down those dogs. And so there are a couple ways that you could participate with this. And you might be able to go all in. You've got the money to participate and be part of this year project anthology. This covers the publishing costs. This covers the time for the real editor that's going to be working with us. But maybe like you just don't have that spare money right now, and you still want to get in on this. So we also have an affiliate program. And so that's where you're kind of investing more time into the program. And in turn, you can get dollars so that you can pay for your part of the investment for the anthology project. So it's not too complicated, although we are going to be doing monthly meetings. We're going to be doing our first affiliate group meeting. We've kind of been doing everything online in the groups up to this point and in emails. This is our first in-person meeting that we're going to have tonight. And basically, we're going to get feedback from the affiliates. What is our curse of knowledge as we've been putting together this project? What do people need to know? What have we been missing? What have we left out? And how can we help them share this information with other creatives that have a story that they can share? And hey, did you get those dogs taken care of?
They're in the house now, so okay, the barking stopped, but we might hear some noise, but it's okay. That's all part of the beauty of being live, right?
Yes.
I don't know if you can hear
So,
what's going on the other side of the door, but
so
anyway.
if you are interested in finding out more about how to be an affiliate for the Believe Retreat, just put a comment in this live stream. We'll see it. We'll reach out to you, or you could send us a private message. You can also contact us through the website that's scrolling there at the bottom of the screen. So just let us know if you're interested,
And
and
links are in the chat.
the links are in the chat.
The beauty of the affiliate program is, and I'm just going to ask everybody a question. How would you like to earn $100 just for referring someone?
That would be
Simple
amazing.
as that.
Especially since I know some people that this is going to be great for. Not to mention, I want to collaborate with them for the next year. So I've been reaching out to people that, I mean, I really would like to spend some more time with, and not just like on a networking, hey, we see each other for an hour, a couple hours once a week, and we all just go around for 30 seconds and talk about what we do, but actually have an opportunity to craft a memorable story that I can take with me when I'm going out networking. And as I'm talking to people, say, oh my goodness, do you know who you need to meet? You have got to hear this person's story. You guys are going to be a match made in heaven. Hold on, let me make that connection. You definitely have to hear this story.
let me just give you an example. This was the last anthology book I was in. 20 authors, we wrote 3,500 words in this one. 20 authors, 10 of whom I've interviewed for Meet the Author. I got to know them. I said, "Oh, you need to meet this person. You could," and they're collaborating now. Or, "Hey, you meet the criteria of what I'm looking for my podcast. Come on my podcast." So, of the 20 authors, I've had 3 of them on my podcast already, with some more scheduled in the future. What if we all did that for each other? What if 50 authors all had a list of everybody on the team, and we all know what we do because we've all gone through the story, we've all heard, we've all got to know each other, we network with each other on a regular basis. What if we are all going on each other's podcasts? What if we all guest blog on each other's blogs? What if I say, my friend is an amazing coach, and I send out a blast email to everyone on my email list saying, you have got to see what this person is doing? What if we all do that for each other?
And we talk about doing that in networking meetings and things like that all the time. But I think where this really takes it up a notch is getting that repeatable story. This is what hooks people, is a good story. It's memorable. It'll be retold over and over again. One of the reoccurring pieces of advice I get from my mentors is to be memorable. And one of the best ways to be memorable is have a story. So if you don't, or you feel like your story just isn't memorable, maybe you have not figured out what that story with the most impact is. So this is also a chance for you to develop that, develop some new friendships and relationships. And I mean, we're just going to hang out for a year and probably complain a little bit about social media and some of those frustrating marketing things. But we're also, as a group, because we're all kind of coming at this from a different perspective, we're also going to learn a bunch of things together. So the pain of will it ever get better with some of this stuff, as far as how do I connect with my audience? Am I ever going to find them? All of this is going to be helped by getting some experience with the feedback process. And it's something that can't really just be learned in a couple sessions, which is one reason why we thought it was really important to keep this project going for a year. So learn some new habits, make some new friends, leave with a story that has a lot of impact.
And have something tangible that you could give out and say, here, my story's in this book. I'm a best-selling author because my story is in this book. Do you know what kind of credibility and visibility that alone will give you? I am a coach, a public speaking coach. I have coached somebody who made it into the finals of the World Championship of Public Speaking. But nobody took me seriously until I said, I'm a best-selling author. Even though it wasn't about public speaking, just the mere fact that I'm a best-selling author raised my credibility level like that.
And if you're not thinking about things like this, it's so important, this perception. Perception is everything. So maybe you get certifications, right? And that proves your credibility. Maybe you have certain mentors that are vouching for you, and that gives you some credibility. But writing a book, becoming an author, this is another great way to increase your credibility in your area of expertise, or for that matter, you just made the point. It wasn't even in your area of expertise that you wrote this particular story about. It was just the fact that you went through the process. You got this experience, and you have the award. You have the proof with the best-selling author label.
And we will have that.
All right. So, let's see. Next week, if you haven't noticed, we've done 4 of these episodes. If you have missed the last 3 episodes, yeah, we have really been talking about feedback because there is a lot of stuff to unpack there. And you know what? It's the part of the process that takes the longest. So we really felt.
And it's the part of the process that someone who's never gone through it before could really feel beat down by the process. So we're trying to prepare everybody to accept it freely and with love.
Yes, that's right. It's not even so much that, you might be enjoying what's going on at the current time. It's like, oh my goodness, do I have to read this page one more time? That might not be enjoyable in the moment. But when you hang out in groups like this, you do start to find the joy in the moment. It might not necessarily be sitting down and reading that page again, but maybe there's some other piece of joy when you plug it into the big picture of what you're going to accomplish that you can appreciate in that moment as you're going through it. And learning that as a process is only going to be bringing more joy into your life. You're going to be doing less of that hustle crazy, feeling less stressed out, less burnout. So the more you can embrace that joy and all the uncomfortableness, gosh, the happier you're going to be. Like, accept it into your life. Just let it be.
And have a bigger impact in the world.
So let's see.
Okay, first, anybody who may have watched this and they're thinking, maybe I want to be an affiliate. How can they get in on our affiliate meeting?
Today, if they would like to get in on the affiliate meeting, it is at 5:30 today. And I can put an invite link into the chat. So you can just click that link and you should be able to get the Zoom link from that and join the meeting.
Perfect. And we will record the meeting. So if you can't make it, let us know you want the recording.
Huh. Speaking of that, you can access that right through our community. There's a whole affiliate center. And so I'm going to have all the replays and the affiliate resources. So
and I will put the link to our community in the chat, and then our time's up for the day.
It sure is. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yes, it does. And let me tell you, if you come into our orbit, you will have fun with us. We've been to festivals, we've done events, we've thrown axes, and there's going to be lots more to come. And if you don't live in Jacksonville, we'll be doing stuff online, or give us a good, compelling reason to come visit you in your city or town.
Oh, are we going to have the next retreat like out of town?
Maybe.
All right. Well, if you can conceive it, you can believe it, and you can achieve it. So,
from the head to the heart
to the hands. Yes, you can.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. See you next week. see it in the community.